everyone. Hi. Um, Hello guys. My name is Danny. If you don't know, I am one of the Youth Forward ambassadors. We are ambassadors of a diverse local coalition focused on improving the success of Black male youth. And if we do this right, well, all youth could benefit from all of it. Our goal is to have education equity in Milwaukee and in the schools. We aim to create space and build relationship and shift power to youth. Many of you guys know me from the last Design Your Future Fellowship, which is last year in 2021, I believe. I joined that work last year, and during that fellowship program, we created 3 plans that are designed to highlight ways to better support Black male youth. Topics and solutions that we came up with included mental health and making our classrooms more culturally responsive. These things help youth and adults collaborate and bring into what success looks like in the schools and in the future. I learned so much and had so much fun there that I wanted to sing things through and decided to participate in the Youth Forward Ambassadorship. I was happy and excited that they chose me. And highlight of the Forward Ambassadorship, with Youth Forward Ambassadorship workshop with Brenna's personification activity. Was one of the highlights, and I learned about myself and how to share my story, and it got me thinking about other people and their story and share my voice and how empathy is an important tool for understanding and amplifying youth voices. Data workshop with Excel training is also one of them too, the highlights. It taught us to manipulate and organize data. This isn't only helpful inside this work, but outside this work, like schools. Mentor Greater Milwaukee Summit was an excellent summit because we had the opportunity to present in person and have our voice raised. The summit was a good idea. Now, this is just the beginning. We will soon have an empire of youth. It's also important to note that young people and adults do see and experience things differently. But today, it is all about youth showcasing and facilitating. Why this, you may ask? So that youth can have a voice.
And so providing you all a few updates around our coalition. There has been a lot has been going on, but first want to share with you all the update around Design Your Future. And so as Day noted, he was one of the 60 youth who came together last summer and produced 6 incredible project proposals for us all. And we have been working with David Mlk Statue of Equitable Systems Consultants to create those proposals into 3 sustainable projects. An update on those is that the first, expanding mentoring and mental health curriculum for Black boys and boys of color, is actually being implemented this fall. And so thanks to the GMF Violence Prevention Grants, we're going to be piloting that proposal at North Division and Pathways High School this fall in partnership with Sky Schools. The other 2 proposals will be moving forward shortly, and we'll be able to provide updates to you all at the next coalition meeting.
Another update that we want to share with you all is the GMF Violence Prevention Grants, where 100K was allocated for youth-led projects and initiatives. One of them being Sky Schools, which was granted the 25K, a quarter of the 100K, for a mental health curriculum being implemented in a school. And this grant will be geared towards developing and implementing our proposal 1 that Clintel just mentioned, that will be piloted at North Division and Pathways this fall. So that's super exciting to see things moving along, and excited to see. We actually have a ambassador who just is joining us now, who might be able to touch on a little bit about that after I give this update. Another 25K was allocated to Mentor Greater Milwaukee, which we also mentioned a bit earlier. They used those funds for an inaugural Youth Voice Conference that was held in August, I believe, which our ambassadors were able to attend and facilitate. There was a lot of workshops, panels, and discussions that revolved around amplifying youth voice and how we can allow youth to be in more spaces where they are the leaders of conversations and the drivers of the strategies that are being implemented in terms of supporting youth. A third recipient of the violence prevention grant was United Way Community Schools, and they are using these funds to expand options for nutritious school lunches. There are student councils that will be creating proposals across, I believe it's 5 high schools. I could be mistaken, but essentially these youth councils will be coming up with these proposals for alternative nutritious school lunches. And the final grant recipient was Peak Initiative. And Peak Initiative will be using these funds for their ambassadors, the Peak ambassadors, and their youth leadership series, which will be ongoing throughout the year, and their programming. Delante, I believe, is one of the ambassadors who was a part of the Design Your Fellowship, Design Your Future Fellowship last summer. And they played an instrumental role in coming up with these proposals that are being rolled out. And I believe Delante was able to make the call. I know he had some trouble logging in, but Delante, if you're on this call, please feel free to maybe just share, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, and let us know how your experience as a fellow went for you last summer, and how you played a role and how you feel about this proposal number 1 being implemented at North Division and Pathways this fall. I know we talked a little bit and you were pretty excited about that.
All right, sorry for my lateness. Hello, everyone. My name is Delante Henderson, and currently a sophomore MATC and also Youth Forward MKE ambassador. And was also one of the original members of the Design Your Future project last year. I'm going to assume Sabas has already shared some of the info on the upcoming proposals. Is that correct?
Yep, Delante. My hope is that Clintel actually gave us a rundown of the proposals. My hope is that you can share with us how your experience was as a fellow, and some thoughts that you have in regards to proposal number 1 in particular. I know you kind of had a role in that one in particular, especially.
I have to say, I'm actually pretty excited. Not only is proposal 1 actually going to be implemented in some schools, but it was also part of the proposal was one of my suggestions I made during the Design Your Future program. To know that one of my suggestions is actually being implemented and is going to help youth in our city, it honestly makes me happy. Yeah, it was kind of a hassle during the Design Your Future. We went through so many suggestions until one of them actually sort of sticked. To my surprise, mine just happened to be one of those.
Thank you, Delante. Is there anything else you want to share?
No.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for not only your role in the designing of this proposal, but your continued involvement and just leadership within the ambassadorship in general.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And now I'd like to pass it off to one of the recipients. I'm super excited that they were able to be here with us today to present. We are going to be spotlighting 2 youth groups today, and the first one being Peak Initiative. So without further ado, hand it off to those youth leaders at Peak Initiative.
Hi.
Hi,
My name is Nyla.
my name is Amayaka.
Wait, we have to wait for Brianna. And we also have Brianna, but I don't know.
I'm here. I'm Brianna.
Okay. Peak's mission is to bring out the limitless potential in young leaders through extraordinary experiences and nurturing relationships.
Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. We define leadership as understanding, developing, and using our power to positively influence people and our places. So the purpose of being a part of peak leadership training programs is basically just to give teens a space to connect and understand more about the day-to-day life and, being a leader. They gave us a lot of opportunities such as internships, which a lot of us are a part of. Also an opportunity to go out at camp and facilitate programs and workshops with kids.
Again, my name is Mlk. I started coming to Peak when I was 10. I come back to Peak because it is an outlet to keep me busy and to help me grow. As leader in training, I have the opportunity to have internships. Over the summer, I worked at our overnight camp for 4 weeks where I was a program assistant. As a program assistant, I facilitated activities like jewelry making and team builders for younger campers. I worked with my peers on creating a program around mental, physical, and emotional health for younger campers. Being a program assistant at camp it taught me independence, responsibilities, and how to work with kids. My current internship at Peak is being an ambassador. I lead on planning social events and community service for my peers. Through this, I'm learning how to work with a budget to plan events. I'm also learning how to practice public speaking by talking on panels like this. As an ambassador, I'm learning about branding and sharing my story and Peak's mission through marketing and promotion. And all of these skills will help me in my future. Some advice that I would like to share with adults is I need an inclusive environment and positive mind from adults to know my voice is heard.
Okay, again, I'm Nyla. I started coming to Peak when I was in 5th grade, so very young. I continue to come back because it is a very home type place. Everyone is very welcoming, and everyone is just like family. As a leader in training, I have had different opportunities to lead. I started as a media intern where I learned how to create flyers and digital designs. I held internships as a program assistant, both in Milwaukee and at camp. Through these internships, I learned how to lead activities and just, work with others. I lead a program called Speak On It, where we had peer-held conversations and started a podcast that was uploaded and on our website, I think, or at least on our page. So we did have a few episodes come out, and we are continuing to do it this year. We also took Speak On It to a teen summit in Wisconsin Dells, where we held workshops with other teens and held conversations or asked questions to held conversations to provide a safe space and talk openly about whatever we kind of have going on in our lives. I am currently an operations assistant where I support the front desk, and I'm learning how to communicate with a wide range of people and how to enter data into the system, so such as attendance and other types of information that needs to be released. At Peak, I am learning how to better communicate and work with others that will help me in my future. Some advice that I would give to the adults around me would be, I need an open-minded and encouraging person, and I need someone to be open to hear my voice and what needs to be heard.
Hey guys, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties with my camera. But hopefully the audio works still. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, my name is Brianna, and I started coming to Peak when I was in 1st grade. I met new people, tried new things, and got out of my comfort zone, basically. My experience in the LT programs are limitless. I am more comfortable with speaking to people. I'm not afraid to lead, and I'm always open to try new things with some of my favorite people. As an LT, I have learned lifelong skills. Some skills I have learned are speaking to people, leading activities, and being professional. I have had many internships over the seasons. Being with Peak only grows my experience to become a better me and teaches me how to manage multiple things at once. Roles I have taken on as an LT are being an operations assistant, where I've learned how to do behind the scenes office tasks and greet people from diverse backgrounds. I was a part of the Learn to Lead Leadership Lab, where I worked in a group to create and facilitate a workshop around mental health. We use art. We use art with paints and canvases to express our emotions and facilitate it for others at Peak's Youth Leadership Series, which is also called YLS. We learn how to structure the workshops, making a welcoming space and lead. The role I played was actually creating the activity we were to do for the workshop. It took a few tries to get everyone's input on the different things we had in mind, but my idea just came out to be the best one. I also had the opportunity to lead a workshop at the Teen Summit with my peers that sparked conversations on topics that were important to us. And lastly, some advice I would give to the adults to create an inclusive space for youth would be just to take the time out and to actually get to know the youth. Um, this was done for me in my peak. Wait, this was done for me at Peak as my peers and mentors started to get to know me and my different attitudes. They would know when something was wrong with me, and that if anything was wrong with me, they will take me out and we will find something positive to look forward to during the day, and just to make it better. Because I know when just when one negative body comes into a room, then it just fills everybody with negative energy, and we don't never want that in a space. So it's the little things that count. And that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna introduce myself, obviously. I'm Carmelo Knight. I'm a senior at Godemeyer High School. Year now?
Yeah, well, this is two going on.
Yeah.
My name is Savion Jarvis. I'm also a senior at Godemeyer High School. And yeah, we've been in BLMA for the same amount of time. BLMA was how we originally got introduced to Mr. Greater Milwaukee. And we've both been in it for going on for 2 years now. That's the next slide.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Wait, is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Rose. Okay, well, yeah, this was our introductory slide anyway. So we were just trying to tell you who we are and what we do. We were social justice ambassadors for the summer. We can go to the next slide right now. Our main job, or what Linnell likes to say, we get paid to build relationships. Can you roll up
No, I can't.
You can't. Okay.
Well,
okay. I'm sorry. It was something else planned that's irrelevant right now. Our main job was to build relationships and to advocate for mentoring. We are a advocacy organization. So what that means is our job is to speak for those without a voice. Thank you.
Yep.
We're an advocacy organization, which means our job is to speak and on behalf of others. Our goal outside of the 3 listed principles were not only to learn how to mentor, but to teach and to convince others to become mentors. We wanted to share the importance of youth voice and learn how to use our own voice. So more ideas about advocacy. You want to talk about like our schedules?
Yeah. So over the summer, the ways that we like did these things. Our Tuesdays were like professional development days. So we would take the time to learn what it means to be a mentor, learn what it means to be a different type of mentor, like a peer mentor versus an adult mentor that you might have. Like, there's two different things. And then we also learned like how to advocate for ourselves and how to teach others to advocate. Things like organizing. We had a few seminar sessions on these Tuesdays. And on Wednesdays, we call them field days, where we meet with other community organizations and just kind of, we'd either convene, like have a conversation with each other, or we do something else completely. It would depend on who we were meeting with. I think a few off the top of my head that we met with the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, met with Bader Philanthropies. Data You Can Use was another one. Are there any more that I'm missing? Off the top of my head?
Yeah, well, Urban Underground was a big one. The African American Roundtable. So a lot of big community organizations that do a lot in the community. So yeah, we can move on to
We can move on.
Yeah. Well, did you speak? Well, on Thursdays. Yeah, Thursdays were our big day. Thursdays we would go to Boys and Girls Clubs and we would help mentor the youth. So all the skills and everything that we learned on those Tuesdays, we took it back to the youth on those Thursdays. Did you want to start about this or
activities that we did?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that impacted me the most from all the activities that we did this summer, which is gonna sound a little crazy because we did do a lot.
We did.
But to me, it was really like the Tuesdays that we would be in the office having conversations amongst each other about things. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, when we would be in the office, we would be having conversations amongst each other. When we would have guest speakers come in, because it was like we were the convening space and we talked about a lot of things, and it's changed the way that I viewed a lot of things going into the school year. Every day that we would go and we would have a day in the office, we start the day off with a circle, just like, I think it was a fist of five. How are you feeling today? And then, we all went through and we talked about how we were feeling and why we were feeling that way or whatever. And sometimes it'd be something short, but sometimes it'd be something that actually happened. And it was like that, asking us how we were every day became something that I expected. So like now when we're in class, when I'm in classes and my teachers start off the day and they're like, oh, like, how are you guys doing today? It is more important to me than it was before, because we always just start like, yeah, just, this is what we're doing today, not how are you doing today.
Yeah, and also the Fist of Five is something that I still, here at school, I mentor a group of freshmen, and like Fist of Five was important to me too, because I love the idea of checking in with people before you just throw something in their face or make them do something. So I always have them start Fist of Five, tell me how you're feeling, or you don't have to share, or we can just move on, stuff like that. It was always a embracive environment. So I have to talk about the Mlk Statue. The Mlk Statue was something, Mlk Statue was like one of the, I want to say it was the first trip we took together.
Yep. Other than the taco truck.
But the Mlk Statue, it was to like reflect on our responsibility as social justice ambassadors. We wanted to pay homage to the social justice workers, the people who did it before us, and we owed them a debt, and we wanted to reflect that by looking at Mlk himself. It was also something because the Mlk statue, we got to go to my high school, and it's literally you were better with streets than me.
Yeah, it's on Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. It's literally down that way. Like it's right. It's kind of hard to, but we're here, right? And it's like it's this way. So we had never seen it. Like we've never
like actually talked about it as a school or as a people. So having that experience was very liberating. Like I feel like it was something special that we took time to pay homage to something.
I think my favorite part about that was like because it's the fact that it's right there. Like I think I've walked past this statue. Yeah. My freshman year, I walked past the statue every Tuesday and Thursday because I had debate, and we would always, me and my friend would go to the corner store down there. More kids go to that corner store than kids who have ever been up close to that statue. which is like crazy because we go to school on the street named after this man in the statue. I never even knew that he was standing on all these different books that he read.
Right.
And I think that's my favorite part about the statue is like, you can kind of see it in this slideshow, but like there's books that he's standing on, books that he's read personally that inspired him for his movement. And it was just, that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Also, did we talk about data in you?
Data you can use?
Okay, so we also met with Dr. Victor Amaya for data you can use. One of the biggest takeaways out of that experience was learning about reshaping the narrative. I feel like a lot of the times with our community, narratives are pushed out that because they say blood sells, So, but we learned that it's up to us to reshape those narratives and to use those numbers to take a story about us, because it was a quote. It's a quote that stood out to me. Nothing about us without us, right? Or nothing without us.
Nothing about
us without us. Yeah, I'm sorry. But so yeah, that really stuck out to me, like reshaping the narrative and using numbers to push out what's actually happening rather than what they're painting it out to be.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
Where we'll talk about one of our biggest events that we did this year, the Youth Voice Summit. Yeah, I'll start. So in the planning of the Youth Voice Summit it was a lot. Like it was a lot to try to, we all started in kind of the same place. Now, me personally, I know that I have I've taken a lot of speaking roles before, and I've done a lot of public speaking in my past. So it wasn't as like out of my realm for me. But what we did was, and if I'm gonna go back a slide so you can see it, it's the picture, the third one to the right, at the top.
Yeah.
We all wrote out speeches and on note cards, and then like I think how long did we have to do it? 2 minutes?
Yeah, it was 2 minute speeches.
It was 2 minute speeches that we had to write. And so about any topic that we picked, and then we had to go up there and present a speech, and then everybody got criticism on what they did well and what they didn't. And that was like a really good way to jump into how we were gonna be here, because then here there was a time limit. I know there was a time limit. And we had to like meet that time limit, and we were all like, well, like we got to talk for that long. And it's like, it seems like it's that long, but once you get up there and you start speaking, it all just kind of flows off. And I feel like that was something important that doing that activity in the office was good for. I think the purpose of the Youth Voice Summit, like as a whole, was really that, like getting youth together to talk about things going on and getting youth together to find better ways to advocate for themselves. Like even though we were just talking amongst ourselves, and like, yes, there were important people there, it was for a lot of people, it was the first time that they had like actually voiced these opinions that they had on these different issues. And I think that like really helped serve the purpose of getting youth to learn how to use their voice and like learn better skills for advocacy.
Right. Just to go back to the Youth Voice Conference, the main purpose or the main goal was, to me, we followed the 3 A's. 3 A's were to amplify, advocate, and to take action. So we wanted youth to be ready to formulate a plan to empower themselves. That's what the Youth Voice Conference was to me. Like you were saying with the training days and stuff like that, I feel like that was a major way to prepare us. I feel like it helped us find where we belong in the Youth Voice Conference, but in this project as a whole, it was us as youth ran into. Like we decided where we wanted to be, we decided what we wanted to talk about. So it was just a major stepping stone for us to find like our voice as well. And that's all I have to say.
All right. I think one other thing about the conference would be just like how well it turned out.
Yeah.
Like seeing all of our work, I think, come to fruition.
Yeah,
I hope that's the right phrase. Seeing all of our work like come to be, and like that the goal was to have 100 kids and like whether we were there or not, it felt like we had 100 kids. It was like everybody there was mostly engaged, and like it was good when we started because we had a good starter and it got everybody energized and ready to talk. So I just really enjoyed seeing everything come together and seeing everybody be together and talking about issues going on.
So yeah, the leadership roles and decision-making opportunities that we had over the summer, working at the Boys and Girls Club was the major one, because it was just us and the kids. You know, we were there with Betty and Linnell and Paul, but when we went to those Boys and Girls Clubs, it was just us and the kids, and it was us just understanding each other. I feel like that's where our leadership really took charge, and it really showed like how we were able to implement the lessons from Tuesday, because, you know, kids aren't always so receptive to messages and, you know, lessons you try to present to them. So I feel like it was up to us to decide and make those decisions how we wanted to present. You know, we can still play around, we can have fun, but at the end of the day, it's still business, and we still got, like, we're still here for a job. Orchestrating the Youth Voice Summit was also a major one. Like I said, it was completely led by us. Not completely led by us, but like we had the autonomy to make it however we wanted to make it. So at the end of the day, it was still in our hands, and we knew that we had a job to do. Connecting with the community organizations was also a big one. We could say whatever we wanted to them. We wanted to make sure we're speaking to them with a purpose, and that we had a common goal, and we used our voice in the correct ways. So, yeah.
I want to see. Okay, that's our last one.
This is our last one.
So I was just gonna speak to work, like I would say my mentorship rather than leadership, because like, yes, while leadership is something like us empowering others to do what they do, or like, you know, us giving others the power to do something. I would say when we were at the Boys and Girls Club, I really felt like I could be somebody that they will look to, right? And there was one kid in particular who was there who, like, I unironically like see him all the time, which is really crazy, because I think he's in 8th grade, or either 8th grade or a freshman in high school. I see him all the time, just around Milwaukee in places I never think I see him.
Saw him at the football game,
and I just be like, oh, what's up, man? He'd be like, what's up? And it just be like that, but it's just crazy, like meeting people and then seeing them later, especially knowing like, oh, I was only with you for a short period of time, but you still remember who I am.
Right, and I still have this impact.
Exactly.
And I feel like that goes back to relationship building, and like
that connections you made. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
All those important things we learned over the summer. I think this was just like one of the best summer experiences that I've ever had, was doing this for the summer. Like,
I feel exactly the same.
I had another job I was working. I was working 7 days a week, basically. The only day I didn't work was Sundays, and sometimes I still had to do so. But it was just like, I don't regret working 7 days a week, with one of them being this job.
And for me, I've never worked a job of this caliber. Like, I've never done the work I've done with this. And I feel like it opened my eyes to like what I want to do and like who I want to be. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity too. So.
And then we'll just, not that, too far. We'll just close out with the mission of Mentor Greater Milwaukee. Yeah, you can read that.
Okay, Mentor Greater Milwaukee will increase mentoring relationships by building the capacity of existing mentoring organizations, matching a caring adult, with children in need through safe, effective mentoring programs throughout Greater Milwaukee.
And that is all, unless there are any questions.
I just want to say I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank you both for the presentation and your work during the Youth Summit.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right, then.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll be transitioning to the breakout rooms.
We are transitioning. Sabas will lead us in the transition, but first I wanted to say thank you again for all our youth representatives who shared their story today. Carmelo and Savion, I want y'all to know there's chatter in the box. Somebody inboxed me privately and said, do they got a podcast? Because apparently y'all vibe giving all this energy. So just think about that maybe in your future to put together a podcast and continue to share the story. So we've been showcasing youth talent, really trying to figure out as adults how we can better support them, hearing them in their own words, telling us what's valuable and what matters. And so now we're going to spend some time discussing a few questions that Sebas will get us ready for in a breakout.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate and thank the two groups that presented today. Y'all did phenomenal, and y'all are phenomenal human beings. And I'm super grateful that y'all took some time to share with this coalition some of the things that y'all been up to and some of the things that y'all envision for the future. So as Katina said, we'll be breaking out into group discussions, and there'll be 2 breakout rooms with the question being, how can we be more intentional in lifting up and utilizing youth voice and leadership? So I'm going to read that one more time. How can we be more intentional in lifting up and utilizing youth voice and leadership? There will be 2 breakout rooms. One of the breakout rooms will talk about how we can be more intentional in lifting up these voices within organizations. And breakout number 2 will be how we can be more intentional in lifting up and utilizing youth voice within systems and through policy.
Hope you had a stimulating conversation. I'll turn it over to Delonte and Sebas to go through our report back.
All right. From what I've been hearing, we've had nothing but good ideas. We got the ball rolling. Nothing but good input from everybody here and there. Those who didn't input, there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all here, you were listening. It was all fine. Yeah. Yeah, I was in breakout too.
Delonte, was there anything in particular that you heard that you would like to highlight or comment on that you heard?
One of the main things we were discussing before leaving out was things that may hinder our plans for trying to incorporate more youth in the systems around us, be it either more people trying to have more power, limiting a change because, well, they fear it and they fear they may lose what power they have. And they're usually in a position where they can easily change it, even if a plan is really good, be it on paper or an application. And also, the second thing was how do we keep more people being involved and not leaving out after they get what they want, and like have something to keep them not only say with a reward for how they apply their selves to certain causes, but as well as also find a way to prevent a way that whatever funds that were supposed to be used for certain things would end up going in the wrong direction as well. So prevent that. Stay on track, mostly. I hope I summed it up as well as I could.
Thank you, Delonte, for reporting back. Is there anybody else from the group that would like to share maybe one thing from the conversation before I share some discussion points that were made in breakout group number 1?
Just like to share one big piece that came throughout is around accountability. So we talked about individuals being fearful of losing their power, and someone even mentioned that maybe it's a real case that they may lose their job if they get involved and rock the boat. But when we have individuals who commit to certain areas, whether it's on their website or they say it in their mission and things like that, we want to make sure that we hold them accountable in speaking out.
Thank you, Delonte and Justina, for sharing some of the discussion points from breakout 2. I was in breakout 1 with a smaller group, I believe. but we had a very engaging conversation. One thing I'd like to highlight before I share some of the points was that we had the Peak Initiative Youth in that group, all three of them that presented. And I feel that they really steered the conversation, and I think they participated the most in terms of sharing their thoughts, which is exactly how we want to model, not exactly what we really need, exactly what we should be doing. So I just want to thank them for their openness, their willingness to really lend us their thoughts, their ideas, their visions, the way that they feel, the way that they see things, to better inform us, let us know what we're doing good, what we're not doing so good in. So thank y'all for that. Some of the things that I highlighted from our conversation was ways to be more intentional in lifting up and utilizing youth voice and leadership within organizations. A lot of them had to do with really sitting down and having conversations with teens, and having young people, giving them the space to have input in everything that has to do with them. Give them space to throw out ideas and brainstorm, creating inclusive environments. We also shared that oftentimes adults do not do enough listening. And if they do listen, sometimes the feedback or the space that is there for them to share, it's not always received in the best way. So sometimes young people will share an idea, and whether it's not expressed in a certain way or if it's not as developed as adults would want, sometimes they're met with responses such as, that's a good idea, but or how about this instead? And so just really noting that adults need to be more conscientious and mindful of not only how they respond to ideas, but also that they come correct when it comes to receiving information or receiving ideas from young people, and really taking those seriously and not just saying, oh, these are good ideas, and then not really putting them into practice, in essence, tokenizing the youth that are at the table, and leveraging their ideas. So collaborative work on that end as well. Something that Joshua as well shared, that again aligns with what a lot of the youth were saying, was really asking youth what it is that they want, listening, and then equipping them with the tools and resources they need. So the way that I kind of thought that was like, okay, ask, listen, and then equip, right? So you ask them what they want to do, what they want to learn about, what they want to get engaged in. You listen to what they have to say, and then you try to give them all the tools that they need to be able to explore that or to advance that, and really allowing youth to direct the work.
Hey, Sebas, I hope I said it correctly, brother. Sebas,
yep.
Okay.
You did.
I need to correct myself. I said Superman complex. It's called Savior complex.
I thought that's what you meant too, but I didn't want to
I got
correct
you.
it.
My brother texted me, said you said it wrong. So, oh, my bad. Got it. So it's Savior complex, right? So sorry about that. But I think in the scheme of what you're talking about, it is making sure our environments are completely conducive for these people to come, these little people, these young people to come in with their full selves and show up as they fully are. We often say that we want youth and we want them to show up and show out, but how conducive is our spaces for them to really do that? And making sure that our spaces aren't just conducive for them to feel safe, because that's part of it, but conducive for them to get the leadership experience, the mentorship, everything, and to receive it in the way they need it to be felt, not in the way that we felt it when we were misjudged as teens back in the day, right? I make sure I cater my message to my kids the way they receive it, through their music, through their lenses, because it's not about me anymore. I'm passing that torch to y'all. It's about y'all. So just being very sure that our spaces are completely covered and made up so that they can feel safe, heard, seen, respected, and then feel like they can be a champion of whatever they want to do.
100%. Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate you.
Can I just add, I know I was just a participant in the group, but there was one other insight that I felt I heard that might be lifted here, which was youth sharing that in addition to including teen perspective, that there's also an opportunity to think more broadly and more inclusively about, even younger youth, if you will, and, just to be mindful that, all voices are important. And so I just wanted to make sure that was lifted and amplified in this conversation.
Yes, Chris, and thank you for that reminder, because that's a note that I made as well, of how bright, and that was actually a comment from one of the Peak Youth leaders, and I thought that was so insightful, how even when they're essentially telling us that they want to sit at the table and to be listened to and respected, they still had in mind their younger peers as well, that, hey, they have some good insight. We should also be listening to them and getting input from them. So kudos to them as well for not only lifting their own voice, but making sure that they are inclusive of younger folks as well. So that was really awesome. So appreciate y'all for the group discussion and the talk back. We're gonna end today's session with a bit of reflection and wrap up.
Understand what they're saying, and yeah, I just hope you guys had a good activity today and to be more engaged with them, and you guys have a good relationship with the youth. So I really want to thank you guys.